Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video in our WordPress tutorial for building a plugin starting from boilerplate. Today we're just going to jump right into continuing where we left off in Visual Studio Code in our last video. And I wanted to just start off, this is how our file looks since we loaded our folder in where we installed it into our local WordPress. And now we're going to be working with the files. And the first one we're going to do is go into the includes, and we're going to open just the class plugin name. So this would be whatever your plugin's namespace is, that you'd find it right here, and it's going to give you this file. And I just quickly wanted to go over this file, very basic and object-oriented, to show you kind of what it's doing and how we're going to hook into it for adding our admin menu, which is what we're doing in this video today. If you go back to your WordPress and you take a look at the WordPress and 10 plugin we created, this is just the boilerplate plugin with it renamed, and you activate it, super magic happens, right? And by super magic, I mean nothing at all happens. And that's what's intended, because when this plugin is created, it's created so that nothing happens. It's absolutely blank. It just has all of everything laid out for you to put your code in, do your hooks and all that. And so we're going to just deactivate that. And one resource I want to take you to real quick is this resource right here. This is a website, adambrown.info. And on the root of this website, it is all of the WordPress hooks and whether they're action or filter type, and if they're used in the current version or deprecated. This is an excellent resource for discovering hooks and figuring out places in the WordPress where you can actually create a do action or an add action and hook into WordPress, which is what we're going to be doing. In this particular case, we're going to be hooking in using admin menu, which is right here. As you can see, it's purple. I already clicked it. It's item number 67. It's an action type, not a filter type, which means we're not expecting it to return anything. And go down to the newest WordPress version and view in context, and it's going to give you this. And this is kind of an example, just kind of telling you what it is. It's really basic overview. And down here, it kind of gives you some example of the code and what the code's doing. And in ours, we're actually going to use the admin menu function or hook to hook in and create our menu with our plugin. So let's just jump right into that. Back over here, this is once again, I opened the includes and the class plugin name. And the reason I left these default was because that way you could follow along without me naming it something custom. All right, so we have the class, which opens up just plugin name. And we have some variables that get loaded in, like protected loader, plugin name, version. And then we have the construct. And in our construct, it goes through and it defines the plugin name version. It defines whatever version we put here. If there isn't one, this is the else. It says if we haven't created one, then just do 100. And then the plugin name is plugin name. We could change this obviously right here. And then it goes through this because it's calling to this class. And it's saying, okay, I want you to load dependencies, set local, define admin hooks, and define our public hooks. So in the dependencies, the first thing it's doing is it's going out and it's loading in these other include files. And it's requiring them once into here. And this gives us access to their functions. And I'm about to show that down here below with our admin menu class. With our admin class. So it's calling in our name, our loader, our language, our admin, and our public. So it's calling in these, it's not calling in the actor and deactivator necessarily right here, but it's calling in the other stuff. What we're going to do is right down here, you're going to see that next thing it says this loader. So it's going to the protected loader variable, and it's loading in plugin name loader as its class. It's setting a new class, which is this here. So it's setting the loader variable as this loader class. And then down here, we're going to skip over the locale. We're going to go straight to admin hooks. Plugin admin equals a new instance of the plugin name admin class, which I'll show you that in just a second. When we open in our admin folder, when we open our class plugin name admin, you're going to see that the class name for this file, if we minimize this, everything's in the class, is plugin name admin. So what this is doing is it's going out and it's saying, I want to make a new instance of that in this variable, and then I can call to it. That's what it's doing, and it's passing it the version and the plugin name. And so when we call this loader add action, it's referring to this loader, and then it's saying, okay, I want to add an action, and I want to enqueue these scripts. And when it's saying the callback, it's saying I want you to use this class, and I want you to call to this function in that class. So we should have an enqueue styles in here, which we do, which is a public function, so it's accessible by this file, and enqueue scripts. So this is where we're going to go ahead and add our admin menu in this particular example. I know that people do it a lot of different ways in their own way, but we're going to do it object-oriented this way. And we're just going to say add admin menu items, and we're going to keep this pretty basic. And we're going to copy this here, and we're going to add our own action. And it's easier just to copy it rather than write it longhand. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to go ahead and paste it here. And instead of admin NQ scripts, which is a predefined hook, which you could determine that by going back here and take a look. It would be in the hooks, admin NQ scripts. So we could find that in here. It would be right here. And this is an action. So that was where they're hooking into that. And we're going to hook into the admin menu. That's where we want our code to fire. We're going to be using the same class, and we're going to be looking for a new function, and we're going to call it my admin menu. All right, so we've created a action which is hooking into the admin menu hook of WordPress. It's using the plugin name admin file, which is actually not in our includes. It's actually in our admin file right here, which is this file. And it's going to be hooking and looking for a function my admin menu. So in here, we can create this by scrolling down. And let's go ahead and just say add. And really, you'd want to follow this kind of example here for new functions. And we're just going to say add our custom menu. Okay, and then under here, let's create that public function. So we named it my admin menu. All right, and we could attach some parameters to this if we wanted to do it a little more slick, but we're just going to keep this really basic for this tutorial. And so in here, we're going to use a WordPress function called add menu page, and this adds a new top level menu page to the side menu over here, a top level being something like plugins and a sub level or sub menu being these inner items. So we're going to add a top level menu item by doing add menu, and see how we have those snippets installed for WordPress. So the IntelliSense is trying to complete this for us, and there it is. And then IntelliSense went ahead and just tried to complete that for us. So the first thing it's going to ask you for is the page title. This is not what it says in the sidebar here. It's actually what it says up here in the top title bar. So in our particular case, we're going to go ahead and just give it double quotes, and we're going to say new plugin settings. Now this title is the title that it gives it. Oh, whoops, that was actually the same one. It just pushed it over. Okay, and this title is now the one that the menu title is going to be. So this is actually the one that appears in the title of the menu. So in this one, we're going to say, let's say WP10 or less setting. All right, that works for me. Capability. This is who can access this, or at what level of subscriber can access this, whether it's administrative or what level. And we're going to make this administrative. So in order to do that, we need to actually create a string, and we need to say manage options. This is the administrative level who's able to do this. This is our menu slug. This is actually what appears in the menu, or in the top bar. And I'll go ahead and show you guys that once it's done. But in this case, let's just say, I'm just going to say my plugin or plugin name. Let's just say plugin name, and then a / and then main settings. All right. Now the function is what it's actually going to it's the return function, or it's what's actually going to display when the page gets loaded. This is where we're going to be able to load in our partials. That's the way this plugin is set up. So in our partials, we have this plugin name admin display. We're actually going to call this in and display it. And the way to do that is we need to use an array function, or just a quick array, I'm just going to paste it in and then explain it to you because I already had it written. So it's an array that's calling this file as its parameter, and it's saying I want you to return this function from this file or this class. I want you to return the function my plugin admin page. And so this is going to call a function that we're going to write soon that's going to call in this partial to display it on our admin page. The icon URL, you can add dash icons here, a few different kinds depending on what you load in, and you can give it a custom icon. I already have a something I've written for this, so I'm just going to paste it in. And then the position. This is the position on your side menu starting from one at the top all the way down. Let's just go ahead and set this as 250 to see if we can go ahead and get it set at the bottom. All right, so that's going to add our top level menu. But now we need to go ahead and add another function in here, which is our return function. And so to do that, we're going to do public function. And if you recall, our callback function, or what our plugin is looking for to return a page, is right here. So we're going to go ahead and use this. And remember, guys, I'm doing this just to keep it as simple as possible. Return views. I guess this isn't really Laravel, but let's just say return views. And we're going to return that view. So if you remember on the front page, we have a require once. And we're going to call in our file from here with our require once. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste the path here. It's easiest for me. And that's calling the partials inside the admin folder. And the plugin name admin display, which is this file here, which has nothing in it. And we're just going to say hello world. All right. So what this is going to do is exactly like we just talked about. It's going to start back in our plugin name, and when it defines the admin hooks, it's going to say this loader, this file here, add an action. I want it to hook into the menu. I want to use this. I want to access this class, and I want to access this function. It's going to look into here, and it's going to come down. It's going to say, here's the function. He wants to add a menu page. So we're going to add that menu page here with these parameters. And as far as what's going to be displayed back to the user, it's going to call my plugin admin page, which is this function here, which is going to require once the partials page. So let's fire it up and see what happens. So when we activate it back here, it activated. And if we take a scroll down, we're going to see, oh, look at this, WP 10 or less settings. So let's go ahead and visit it. And it's returning our hello world view. All right, but we're not done yet. I'm also going to add a sub page. And to do that, and this video might be a little longer than 10 minutes. I know I'm trying so hard to keep it in it, but this is a pretty advanced topic as well. In order to add a submenu page to this, all we have to do is use another WordPress function called add submenu page. And for speed's sake, I'm going to paste one in. But here is it's essentially the same exact thing as your first add menu page, except for what it's wanting to do here. The only difference is it's wanting to make sure that it's adding as a submenu to your initial menu that you created. All right, so from the front to the back, it's asking for the first thing that's required in order to make it a submenu of your main menu is it needs to know your main settings or your main page's slug. So we just copied that from the slug above, the slug that we gave it. Then it's all the same stuff. It wants the title for your bar, the title in your menu, who's capable of looking at this option. In this case, it's the admin again through manage options. The slug for this, which is going to be plugin name importer, say it was some kind of importer, and then this page's callback, or its display, and then also its priority, which we didn't give it a priority in our submenu, and we could do that to give it a priority if we added another parameter by using a comma and then that. So my plugin, in this case is my plugin, I'm going to say and call this, let's see, we called this my plugin admin page. So let's call this my plugin sub page. And we could do this the same way. And like I keep saying, guys, this may be the long way around. I know that, but I'm just trying to give a really clear understanding of this is really how it basically works. Let's return a subpage view. And like another thing I said here too is you could pass parameters in here and give yourself, like, say if it was a 1, it would return this view, a 2 this view, or things like that. We could totally make this way, way, way more sleek for lots of sub pages, but we're just going to keep it simple here. And then in this one, we would do a require once, and let's just go ahead and clone this page here. Let's just copy it and paste it in there. And one of these is the copy, which I believe is this one here. And let's just rename this to sub menu underscore page or dash page. Just sub menu page. Let's keep it really basic. All right, sub menu page. And in here, we're going to say this is the sub menu page. All right. And then back in here, we would require once. And as you would expect, I should just do that. All right, and as you would expect, it's these, and it's partials, and it's sub menu page.php. All right, let's just go ahead and check that out. And now if you take a look at our menu, we have our top level and we have our sub level. And let's go ahead and visit our sub level. Oops, let me double check this real quick. Oh, it's because it had to be the array. I didn't import it by calling this. That was my mistake. All right, now it'll work just fine. All right, and so we have now set up our administrative pages. And this is just a quick overview example of how this works. There's way more in depth to it, but we just successfully did our first hook, where we hooked into our admin page. Or we hooked into our admin menu and we installed our own, or we hooked and created our own and then required in our files. And now we can start doing more advanced menuing and tab selects and then moving into saving features and shortcodes and all kinds of stuff now that we have a place to start creating forms and inputs. That's going to wrap us up here in part 4. I know this was quite a bit longer than usual, but this is kind of advanced for a very first topic on hooks. And I hope you guys liked it and appreciated it. This was really hard for me at first. For some reason, adding menus was really difficult in WordPress for me. And this is kind of an easy way just to do it. And like I said, you can always make it more advanced by adding more features and parameters and passing parameters to your menu, so you don't have to create a function for every menu page and item. But anyways, that's it. That wraps us up. Like, subscribe, comment. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in part 5.